Morning, everyone. Welcome to CWM. Today is Wednesday, September 21st. Okay, let's start with today's mini seminar topic. It's one of municipality operation. Today we want to talk about planning, zoning, and building ordinances. Mostly we deal with planning board, zoning board, the board of adjustment, etc. And there are a lot of different set of building ordinances. So we want to talk about some general background with municipality, each town's activities and operation. Okay, before we start talking about municipality activities, there are four major governmental limitations on the ownership of real estate. In other words, typically the ownership of real estate is fee simple. They call it fee simple. In other words, fee simple is the most powerful ownership status. Fee simple. I don't know why they call fee simple, but anyway, fee simple status is the most powerful ownership type. From that, there would be a lot of limitations. Leasehold limitation, some governmental limitation, and a lot of limitations. But let's talk about what kind of a governmental limitation we're talking about. Number one, as we know, in Korean, 강제수용, right of eminent domain, through the process we call condemnation. In that case, the ownership will be limited. In other words, it will be affected. Okay, that's one area that the government can do something to your real estate ownership. Okay, and second is the escheat. This escheat is claim of residential land abandoned or left upon the death of a person having neither a will nor heirs. Means, let's say you died, but without any will, okay? Or you died, but without any heirs. No sons, no daughters, no cousins, etc. So who will take that land? Who will take that real estate? Government. That process we call escheat. Okay, so that's also a kind of governmental limitation on the ownership of real estate. All right. Now, third thing is, of course, if you are the owner of a real estate, you have to pay tax. If you don't pay tax, government will take over. So taxation is some type of governmental limitation. Of course, with this tax, we have to operate municipality, the town government, for the general benefit of town residents. Okay, so taxation is third governmental limitation. And the last one is the police power. All the municipalities has police power, we call, to regulate land use through city planning, zoning, and building ordinances. That we call police power. Whether we know this power explicitly or not, anyway, it exists. Okay, that's the police power. The municipality can control, can regulate the land use according to the planning and zoning and building ordinances. So there are 4 different kinds of governmental limitation on ownership of real estate. So it is democratic society, it is capitalism, so you can own the real estate. However, there are some governmental limitations. And today we want to talk about this police power, okay, to regulate land use through city planning, zoning, and building ordinances. What about planning? Okay, first of all, legislative background authority is in 1976. We were talking about New Jersey, NJSA 4055D-1 through 129. According to this law, all the municipalities, in other words, a town needs or requires to have a master plan. Okay, so whenever you visit the town, whenever you move to new town, then you can visit probably town hall, and they must have a master plan. And this law we called municipal land use law. This is the name of the law, enacted in 1976. So from 1976 on, all the towns, every town, all the municipalities, they must have a master plan and must at least re-examine once every 6 years. So they cannot keep all the master plan. And at least they have to re-examine every 6 years. So that's the law, okay? So where this is going to happen, it's a planning boards. So you probably heard many times planning boards. So the master plan is implemented and interpreted by a local planning board. So every town has planning board. And planning boards are particularly active on the approval of subdivision. Well, you have let's say 1 acre lot. Okay, then you want to build 2 houses. I mean, as a landowner, you want to build 2 houses, but you cannot. So first you have to obtain subdivision approval. So planning board will approve your request for subdivision. I have 1 acre land and I want to divide by 2. And I want to build 2 houses. Because of you are the landowner, you cannot do it without subdivision approval. So that's what the planning board does. And talking about subdivision, there are minor subdivision and the major subdivision. The minor subdivision is up to 4 houses zone, and major subdivision is above the 4-family zone. And also minor subdivision doesn't include street, creation of a street. Okay, there is a new street has to be involved. Then it is going to be major subdivision. So, and what about zoning? What is zoning? We know that what the zoning is, but let's take a look at in the definition. The operation arm of general planning, in that it is a police power which gives counties and municipalities the power to control their land for most beneficial use of the population socially and economically. So therefore, they create a zoning map. So a town has a zoning map. And these days, they put this zoning map on their website. Each municipality has a zoning map, whether they put on the website or not. Okay. Well, conventionally, zoning map is on the paper, so it's very bulky. Okay. But if you put that into the website, town website, that will be very handy. For instance, Richfield around this area in Bergen County, they did a nice job. You can review zoning map on their website. So which area is two-family zone, which area is hotel and office zone, and etc. And usually they go by different colors, okay? And there is a zoning board of adjustment. Typically, we call just the board of adjustment. So planning board, there is a board, planning board, okay, for the general planning. But in terms of zoning, there's a board of adjustment. And what they do is to appoint to interpret zoning questions and to grant variances. Now, variance you heard many times. So variance is almost like, this is our life, okay? Every town, every building, I don't see any buildings without here and there variances. So variance is very important. And typically there are two kinds of variance, of course, zoning variance and use variance. Of course, zoning variance is somewhat difficult than use variance. And in terms of zoning, sometimes we heard non-conforming uses. Well, you remember the 1976 on, they have to have a municipal, according to the municipal land use law, in 1976, they must have a master plan. But what about the property or land use before that, for instance? And we cannot change that. So it might have non-conforming uses. We call that a grandfathered. So this building is grandfathered. That kind of expression we can use. So there are often non-conforming uses. Okay, so that condition existed, even though it is not conformed with the current zoning law. Okay, still it's there. Okay, it's called a non-conforming use. And sometimes the expression we use is, it is grandfathered. Now, also you, even though it's rare, you heard spot zoning. Spot zoning is, again, is a non-conforming, but with some specific situation, town allowed the zoning change. We call it a spot zoning. And also zoning appeals. If you think, again, you are the owner of the land, but there are some governmental limitation, okay? The one of them is police power. So you feel that is not fair, okay? You as a citizen, you as a resident, you as a real estate owner, you can appeal, okay? And then the Board of Adjustment will allow that or not allow that. Now, somehow you appeal the zoning, but it's disapproved. Then next step is you can request amendment. Okay, so amendment is not zoning change, but it's something, again, some special cases. And also you heard probably setback lines, typical rule, okay, of a building on a land that they have a setback requirements, front setback, side setback, and rear setback. So you have to build this house or building, okay, away from the borderline, let's say 15 feet away from the borderline, okay, etc. So that's a setback requirement we call. Okay, and that's a zoning the issues. And then next issue is the building. They have building ordinances. This typically we call building codes. It is rules, the codes are rules to protect the public health and safety from inferior construction practices. Well, if you let it go, some inferior construction practices, what's going to happen? Later on, okay, whole town becomes a very inferior place to live. And then probably real estate value goes down. And then a lot of people, I mean, rich people is relatively term, but the residents with the ownership of a house, they want to move out to different town. So they want to keep all the buildings and protect the public health and safety. And so what is their standard? Okay, there should be some kind of standard. It's a UCC, Uniform Construction Code. Okay, UCC Construction Code. I'm sorry, Uniform Construction Code. So all New Jersey municipalities must comply with state UCC. So UCC is controlled by the state. And also you hear the building permits and inspection. It's very a difficult thing to carry on. Sometimes it takes time. And a lot of bureaucratic tapes possibly exist in the each municipality. Well, that is a problem, but we need that. Okay, we need to keep the building again safely and healthy. So, but in order to exercise the police power, sometimes it is not that easy to deal with. There are two kinds of inspection. When you, let's say, if you do the interior renovation or a new building, typically there are two inspections. One is called the rough inspection for electric, plumbing, and fire building. In other words, simply saying, you can imagine before you put the interior wall, so you can see frame, you can see electrical wiring, you can see all the plumbing actually, okay? They call rough inspection. So middle of your project, the town has to come out. And also after you put the walls, so finishing and touching up the interior complete, then they have to do the final inspection again for electric, plumbing, fire, and building. So there could be a lot of problem because of duration to apply the permit and get the inspection, the rough inspection, and get the final inspection. As you know, the town inspectors doesn't work for full-time job. is mostly part-time, and sometimes they take care of a couple of different towns. So it's very demanding. And we can improve a lot with this area if you become a mayor or this town staff. I think we have to improve this area a lot. Now, also, we hear many times, and we have to deal with CCO, Continued Certificate of Occupancy. It's all under the building ordinances area. Again, smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector, and fire extinguisher. That's kind of main issues. Okay. 오늘은 우리 in general, in theory, 내가 real estate를 가지고 있다. ownership이 이제 있는데 가장 높은 단계의 ownership, 가장 넓은 단계의 ownership이라고 할까요? absolute ownership style이라고 그러는데 그것을 우리가 fee simple이라고 부르는데 거기에서부터 출발을 하는데 많은 governmental limitation이 있을 수 있다. 주로 4가지의 governmental limitation이 있을 수 있는데 첫째는 강제 수용. 그렇죠? 강제 수용을 당할 수 있다는 거죠. 내가 원하지 않아도. condemnation이라는 프로세스를 통해서 eminent domain의 right을 이제 타운이 갖게 된다. government에서 갖게 된다. 그 다음에 이제 escheat. 이거는 limitation이라 보다도 어차피 이게 버려진 땅, 주인이 없어졌어요. 죽었어요. 아무도 상속받지 못했고, 그다음에 위헌장도 없었어요. 그런 경우에 이거는 정부에서 가져가 버린다. 그걸 escheat라고 그러고, 그 다음에 어떤 real estate든 간에 땅을 소유하면 뭐가 묻는다? tax. 땅에 대한 tax, 그 다음에 건물에 대한 tax. 만약에 tax를 안 내면 그러면 어떻게 되느냐? 정부가 tax sale을 해서 처리할 수 있다. 그러니까 limitation이죠, ownership에. 그 다음에 중요한 limitation, 오늘 우리가 얘기하려고 하는 것이 뭐냐 하면 police power라는 거예요. police power. police power는 이 플래닝이나 zoning이나 빌딩 오디넌스를 통해서 땅을 사용하는 데 있어서 그것을 컨트롤하고 레귤레이트하는 파워를 police power라고 합니다. 그것에 의해서 우리 ownership이 이렇게 지장을 받는 거죠. limitation이 있다. 그런 거죠. 그래서 일반적으로 플래닝 그러면 이 법적인 근거가 있어요. 그냥 플래닝 보드에서 그냥 마음대로 하는 게 아니라 1976년도에서부터 Municipal Land Use Law라는 게 시작이 돼서 그래서 모든 타운은 마스터 플랜을 가지고 있어야 된다. 그리고 every 6year, 6년마다 그것을 re-examine 해야만 된다. 그러니까 keep up 해야 된다는 얘기죠. 그 다음에 플래닝 보드라는 게 있어서 그 플래닝 보드에서 이 마스터 플랜을 실용화하고 또 그 플래닝 보드에 의해서 이 마스터 플랜이 해석이 되는 거죠. 그리고 중요한 일 플래닝 보드에서 하는 거는 또 서브디비전. 서브디비전은 원 에이커 랏에 내가 반을 쪼개서 두 집을 짓겠다 할 때 반드시 서브디비전 신청이 먼저 있어야 된다는 거. 아니 5개로 쪼갤 수도 있고 10개로 쪼갤 수도 있죠. 그것을 이제 우리가 나눠서 the minor subdivision, major subdivision이라고 한다. 4lot 이하는 minor division이고 그거는 street을 새로 만드는 거를 포함하지 않는다. major는 4 이상이고 4lot 이상을 쪼갤 때 major subdivision이라고 하고 그 street을 만드는 것이 포함될 때에 우리가 major subdivision이라고 얘기를 합니다. 그것이 이제 플래닝 보드에서 하는 일이란 얘기고요. 그 다음에 zoning 뭐냐? zoning은 이제 일종의 그 operation arm, 그 플래닝 보드, 플래닝의 마스터 플랜에 의한 플래닝의 일종의 operation arm이다. zoning으로 이제 컨트롤한다 이런 얘기죠. by police power. 오케이. 그래서 이제 이 police power에 의해서 컨트롤한다. 그래서 zoning 맵을 이제 가지고 있게 되고요. 그것을 이제 주로 컨트롤하는 데가 Board of Adjustment예요. 그래서 Board of Adjustment는 is appointed to interpret zoning questions and grant variance. 이제 variance가 등장을 하게 되는데, 예를 들어서 어떤 규정에 조금 벗어나는 것을 허가해 달라. 그러니까 모든 규정에 맞춰서 건물을 짓고 이럴 수는 없겠죠. 그죠? 모든 게 다 상황이 똑같지 않으니까. 뭐 그렇게 되면 뭐 빌딩이 몇 개 없겠죠. 그래서 약간의 변경은 allow를 해달라. 이렇게 하는 게 이제 variance죠. 근데 이제 zoning도 아주 바꾸는 variance가 있고, 그다음에 use만 사용용도라는 거는 이게 이 건물이 호텔로 사용될 건가, 아니면 오피스로 사용될 건가, 그다음에 교회로 사용될 건가 하는 것들이 use죠. 그러나 커머셜 조닝 안에 들어가 있죠. 그러니까 조닝이 큰 단계고 그 밑에가 use라고 볼 수가 있다. 그 non-conforming이라는 거는 이제 그 코드에 안 맞는 거, 근데도 지금 있어요. 계속 옛날서부터 있어 왔던 거 우리가 grandfathered라는 표현을 쓴다. 스팟 조닝은 조닝이 안 맞는데 그 딱 한 란만 이제 허가를 해주는 이런 경우도 있다. 그다음에 마음에 안 들면 뭐 페어지 않다 그러면 조닝 어필을 하게 될 거고, 그다음에 이제 조닝이 바꿔지지 않고 유즈 베어런스가 안 된다 했을 때에 어멘먼트라고 해서 또 쓸 수 있게 하는 그런 경우도 있다. 그다음에 setback line 같은 얘기는 많이 들어보셨고요. 경계선에서 얼마를 떨어져서 빌딩을 줘야 된다. 이러한 그 룰들이 있다. 자, 그다음에 빌딩 오디넌스는 이제 주로 빌딩 코드에 대해서 얘기하죠. 빌딩을 질 때 UCC에 의해서 줘야 된다. 그래서 UCC는 스테이트에서 컨트롤하는데 모든 뮤니시패리티는 UCC에 의해서, 여러분들이 그 가ban 받는 게 자꾸 뭐 여러 가지 그 아울렛을 만드는데 벽에 사무실에 예를 들어서 아울렛을 만드는데 every 6feet에 아울렛이 있어야 된다. 그러니까 6feet마다 아울렛이 있어야 된다. 그거는 왜 그렇게 했어요? 익스텐션 코드를 너무 길게 늘리면 위험하기 때문에 every 6feet apart 해서 아울렛이 된다. 뭐 예를 들면 그러한 코드들이 있다는 거죠. 그것이 스테이트에서 컨트롤된다. UCC라고 한다. 유니폼 컨스트럭션 코드라고 한다. 그다음에 이제 빌딩 퍼밋을 내야 되죠. 아주 골치 아픈 과정이죠. 그다음에 인스펙션을 또 받아야 돼요. 입주하려면. 그래서 라프 인스펙션이 있고, 그다음에 이제 라프 인스펙션은 전기 와이어링이나 플라밍이나 이런 게 다 보이게끔 벽을 치기 전에 검사받는 거. 그 중간 검사 정도 되죠. 그 다음에 벽을 붙이고, 그 다음에 또 파이널 인스펙션을 받는다. 그러니까 분야도 전기, 플라밍, 파이어, 빌딩이 이게 종류가 많은데, 뭐 어떤 타운은 좀 컴바인 하지만 그 각기 다른 인스펙터들을 또 어레인지해야 되고 하니까 이 시간이 엄청 걸린다. 그래서 이거는 참으로 불편한 과정이라고 느껴질 수 있지만, 우리가 퍼블릭 헬스나 세이프티를 위해서 타운에 필요한 과정이긴 하다. 그 다음에 이제 CCO 얘기 많이 하죠. 그것도 이제 어디넌스 안에 있는 거죠. 스모크 디텍터, 카본 모노크사이드 디텍터, 파이어 익스팅귀셔 등을 입주하기 전에 꼭 이제 검사를 맡아야만, 그래서 입주 허가서죠. CCO를 맡아야만 렌털이 바뀔 때, 테넌트 바뀔 때, 집을 사고 팔 때 전부 필요하게 된다. 이제 점점 그 레드 베이스, 그 납 들어간 성분 페인트의 룰이 더 강화되죠. 그러니까 더 루즈해지는 게 아니라 이 조닝 어디넌스에서는 더 강해져 가고 있는 것 같아요. 그런 느낌이 있다. 물론 좋은 타운, 좋은 카운티, 좋은 스테이트를 만들기 위해서 하는 거지만 실질적으로 우리 일하는 분들이나 실질적으로 이거를 해야 되는 홈오너들 입장에서는 굉장히 부담이 될 수도 있다. Okay, this is the mini seminar. We covered today the planning and zoning and ordinances. I hope this would help you to understand the overall what's going on in each municipality. Thank you for joining. See you all next week.